Hello, I'm Joe Crafton, and I wish I could be with you today, but unfortunately I had a commitment I had to attend to. So Don asked me if I would shoot this short video sharing my enthusiasm for what we're doing with the Bobwhite Foundation. I grew up in West Tennessee and growing up quail hunting with my father, and he quail hunted with his father before him. On our ancestral farm there in West Tennessee, we saw firsthand the decline of the Bobwhite quail, and it broke my father's heart. And it's what Tom Davis called our greatest wildlife tragedy. And as I moved to Texas later in life, I was really thrilled to see we had so many quail here in Texas in the early 2000s. And I felt like I'd rediscovered a love of mine. And so we started quail hunting and started an organization called Park Cities Quail. And Park Cities Quail has raised now over $3 million for quail research, predominantly going to the Rolling Plains Quail Research Ranch in Roby, Texas. So I've worked at the Texas Parks and Wildlife and many other organizations to really focus and organize the group of quail hunters here in Texas. But what I've come to realize is that across the country, there's very little coordination of efforts. There's great things going on in Florida, in Georgia, in the Carolinas, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and just not communicating very well. And so I was thrilled when I learned about NBCI. But in talking with Don, we realized that there are a lot of people who would like to contribute and like to help the effort. They don't quite know how. And state budgets are going to continue to be a major concern and a stress point. So we talked about creating the Bobwhite Foundation. And the Bobwhite Foundation is going to help us continue to have a interest that's earned off those accounts that's going to help pay for the operating cost of the NBCI and make sure there's clear communication. Now, this last year I hunted in Florida and in Georgia, in Mississippi, in Tennessee, and in Texas. And I can tell you I have an appreciation for all those areas. Even though we have a bird that's a local bird and it's the property of the people of the state of Texas, it's all interconnected. And learning best practices and sharing best practices and communicating is very important to me. And I know my father, if he were still alive, would be very proud. And he'd be a typical person that might give to a foundation. He might, as he did his estate planning, as he planned to give money to his church or his favorite nonprofits, certainly would contribute to the Bobwhite Foundation if there was such a thing. So we created the Bobwhite Foundation, and I think we need something to kick it off. So what we decided to do, working with Don, was to create the Bobwhite Foundation. I'm going to start it off with a $100,000 gift, and then I will match dollar for dollar up to $1 million, meaning that we should end up with a $2 million fund. And that $2 million will hopefully fund the efforts of communicating and effectively sharing best practices across the 25 states of the Bobwhite range. And my hope is that it will inspire others to give. And working with the group here in the room, we can find ways to reach those individuals who care as much about quail hunting and bird dogs as we do, and have kids like me that they want to perpetuate the sport for. So we can work together to get the word out that there's a matching grant, challenge grant opportunity to raise $2 million, which should secure our ability to communicate and effectively reach the quail hunters that are out there. And I'm confident throughout the South and the Midwest that we have lots of passionate quail hunters who are doing their estate planning and can contribute to this cause and can make a difference. So look forward to working with you more closely on this, and thanks for all the work that Don and the group at University of Tennessee have done, and look forward to seeing what this can do. Thank you.